starting already.
I'm starting already because Micca,
let me get my drink.
She already has set this whole tone that she's gonna come for me on this, and I'm letting it be known I am not supporting Brian McKnight's concert when he comes to DC. So, and it's about 387 people that seem to support that. So I'm gonna let Micca jump right into it because I already know how I feel about Brian McKnight coming here. So I'm gonna let you say why you would support Brian. Why you
now see you tried it.
Well, not support him, but why you on Brian's side or have this partial perspective?
Okay. Because I see both sides. So I'm gonna play the video real quick. We're just gonna look at a couple of things and react to it a little bit, and then see what our thoughts are, especially mine, because I know you do. All right, so let's play this interview here.
This is an update. We talked about Brian McKnight a few days ago. He said some ridiculous things about his own children, called them evil, right? Well, looks like people are not going to his concert now. Let me remind you of his commentary. Here it is.
So lastly this week, I want to big up my man right here. See, he gets it. In order to live a life that you love, you have to get rid of the evil and the negativity, even if that evil and negativity is related. We want everyone to live a life.
What's your face? Why your face like that?
I understand his perspective on getting rid of the evil things, but to refer to your children as evil, they came from you. So what does that say about you if you can say your own children are evil? At some point, they were made of love. You don't have one child. You have 3 with this ex-wife of yours. So that means one time you had an evil child, then you went back and had another evil child, then you went back for the 3rd time and had another evil child. Apparently, they're not that evil if you kept making them. So my whole thing is I come from the community where what goes on in your house stays on in your house. And I just don't like the way people are using social media platforms to address issues that are happening in their family or in their house. And to me, for you to talk about your children that way on national TV, what does that say about you as a man and as a father, personally?
Okay.
And it may be another side to it that I don't know, but whatever side that I don't know, I probably don't need to know because this is a man talking about his children on a platform that people are. Now, you want people to be in favor of your perspective of referring to your children as evil? No, those are your children. Keep it contained, handle your business in your house, and then we don't need to know. I just don't want to know about it.
Okay. I'm gonna play a little more of it.
Okay.
That you love our hashtag. That's what it means. Hashtag I love our life. But in order to do that, you have to get rid of all that evil and negativity. There's so many angry and upset and negative people out there. We want to use our platform as a place of positivity. So look, here's another somebody asking about my one and only daughter, Julia, asking about how she feels about a post about her graduation. Well, how do you think she feels? She feels great. See, Julia understands the scriptures. Exodus 20:12, where it says, and I quote, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. See, she honors us, and in turn we honor her because she knows how proud of her we are. And here's something, if you're going to leave snide comments, at least allow us to tag you when we reply. It's so cowardly.
I agree. All right, so I agree with the tagging because some of y'all will say whatever you want to say, and then I go and it's like, oh no, you can't tag. Oh, so you ain't want that smoke?
Nope.
Okay. So
I respect that perspective. That's the only thing I can get you in that conversation.
Like you gonna say something about me, and I want to reply. Let me retort. So, right. But here's the thing. Okay, so I personally understand where he's coming from, right? He's coming from the perspective of 2 things, right? I love my kids. However, it's what some of y'all like to say, when y'all get tired of y'all kids for just a little bit of stuff, F them kids. Mm-hmm. But to really be honest and truly, I think he's coming from it from a perspective of these kids don't respect his authority, don't respect what he's saying. He did another interview where he was talking about the children, just being ungrateful. And I can tell you right now, the household I grew up in, ungratefulness will get you up out of there, And I do, I'm not religious, but I do agree that, you should at least have a level of respect. You don't have to like your mother and father, right? Because they're human beings too, right? But you can respect the fact that, they're the conduit that got you here.
Correct.
And you can respect, their thoughts and opinions. And if you don't agree with them, you don't have to deal with them. But in his, in Brian McKnight's regard, his children don't want to respect him and they want his money. And so they have a sense of entitlement, right? Now, maybe, he could say things a better way. Maybe he can do a better job at explaining or clarifying, being that he's going on a public platform. Because me personally, I don't think he has to explain anything when it's private, though. If you decide, and I say this to all people, when you decide to go on a public platform, you make it everybody else's business.
Correct.
Right? And so when you do that, then yes, you might have to clarify because now you've made it everybody else's business. So I agree that he could have said it better or came back and clarified, but sometimes people are like, I said what I said, right? And they know what they mean.
Correct.
And they don't care about what other people think because they know what's going on, right? And I have a little bit of insight because of the people I know. But I just feel like, it's kind of what, I've heard you say before, there's 3 sides to every story. So who's to say that Brian McKnight is not coming from a place where nobody knows what he's going through as a dad to adult children? These are not little kids, because I've heard some people speak about these children like they're babies. They're not babies. Like some of them are my age. Like,
correct.
Stop.
Okay.
So that's just part of my perspective.
Okay. So this is where things change. Like, I look at it like this. Okay. So if the kids came out and they made a statement about their father publicly before Brian McKnight even made an issue about whatever, I think a lot of it came out after he had the second child or the second Brian with the new wife. Okay.
Okay.
The thing about this is, I don't know what the nationality of his new wife is, but one thing's for sure and 2 things for certain. He was Brian McKnight, the singer, songwriter, person, before he met this woman. Julia, this daughter he's speaking of, I love her name. Love it.
I bet
but the thing about it is she is not his biological child. So when he says, my only child, well, your only daughter, this is not your only daughter. You know what I'm saying? Now, granted, you can dismiss your child that you had previously or whatever the case may be. There's no guarantee that this wife that you have now and them children are even going to be there for the long haul. So right now you're disowning what came from you. Not to mention if they've came out and made a statement about their father and then Brian McKnight responded, even then it's a public, they've made it a public issue. That's when he can say, look, let's have a conversation. You are the older person. You're the father. Now, when me and my daughter have an issue, if I'm wrong, I'm going, guess what? Let me have a conversation with you because I'm wrong. That's what some parents are not being accountable. They assume because they're the parent and because they're the provider that they're the right all the time. No, you have your own trauma and stuff that you need to deal with too. And a lot of people have trauma and then they think that their children are supposed to just accept their trauma and their negativity. Brian McKnight seems to be the problem because my thing is this. You go through all the lengths to change your name to be the baby's name so you don't have to deal with the consequences of being attached to the first Brian. I'm just like, I'm not feeling that at all. And not only that, but why you just can't pull your children aside and just have a private conversation instead of making this thing public? Then when you make it public, so for instance, if he's not providing for these children that he's putting out, his biological children, if he's not doing anything for them, all right, that means they probably have 9-to-5 jobs or they working day to day. My thing is now they got to still go to work and confront the fact that you've made these comments about them being evil and all these different things that he said, and he's messing it up for them. I don't like that because now you put your children in a position where you may make their work environment bad. You may mess up their money because hypothetically, if someone knows his daughter is related to him, they'll be like, damn, your father on TV talking like that about you?
Well, okay.
And so now you messing up their opportunities. So I look at it like this. Black people, all families, for all that matter, keep your family business in your household. We do not need to know about it. Brian McKnight has, put a target on his back because now people looking at him like he's this horrible father. His children look like ungrateful kids. And one day, 10 years from now, when Brian McKnight is sick and whatever, guess what? He gonna probably need those kids just as much as they need him. So for all that, the same way he says, honor thy mother and father. And that's something that I personally have done. But in order for me to honor my mother and father, my parents had to give me a reason to honor them. They don't just get honored because of whatever. You have to actually be a good parent in order for you to be honored and taken care of. You can't just expect for you to say I'm evil and think whatever.
Who's to say that he wasn't a good parent, right? Because he wasn't speaking from that. He went on the defensive after his son, right? His son made it public.
Right.
Right? So now that it's public, you have no choice but to address it publicly. And who knows that he might have even tried to address it privately, right? But his son made it public. So you don't want to get just slandered in the media, right? Without having, well, it was a way to do it for his son too, because his son is not a little baby, right? So he knows right from wrong. He knows that his dad is a superstar.
Right, okay.
So any little thing you say, and you know this era we're growing up in, any little thing you say is going to, get exacerbated by the blogs and everything else. So he knew exactly what he was doing when he did it. So if you're going to blast your dad, I'm sorry, be prepared for the smoke.
But I think the
kid or no kid.
I mean, I feel like the blasting came after Brian McKnight had the second Brian, and everyone was like, oh, doesn't he already have a son named Brian McKnight Jr.? And so I guess he wanted to have that son change his name.
But what's the problem with having two Brians?
There's nothing wrong with it. But at this point, people were kind of coming at the first Brian, the second, the junior, and making it seem like you need to change your name so your father can have that, the new Brian McKnight, whatever, as the original Brian McKnight Jr. And so the son is like, I can't change my name because my son is named after me. So me changing.
But he doesn't have to look, because it sounds petty.
It's petty, but it's Brian McKnight,
and he doesn't have to change his name. But the son initially was being petty though when he went to social media, because you did not have to go to social media. Like, you can have a clear issue with your dad, right? Whether we agree about it or not, like the public.
Correct.
But you can have a clear issue with your dad. You know how many celebrity kids probably don't like their parents? Do you know? Nope. No. So why all of a sudden you just chose to jump on social media? To me, when you jump on social media, and I mean everybody, you jump on social media, you're looking for attention. Like, whether it's good attention or bad attention, you're looking for attention. That's what social media is for, to bring attention and awareness to whatever you're doing.
I don't know if he actually came out first and said it like that. I think that people keep adding him, and it's like, are you going to address this? Are you going to address this? Are you going to address this? And eventually he's like, you know what? Let me address it. And I think that's what the son actually did, was because people are like, wait a minute, he already has a son, Brian McKnight Jr. So if this is trending that he's Brian McKnight now has that child, those kids only came out.
Address it.
He did not have to address it, but it's like the same way Brian McKnight isn't addressing it. My thing is this: you have to set an example in order for you to lead an example. So if you want your son to do better than you, if you want your children to be better than you, actually put out an example that's better than that for them to actually live up to. My thing is this: clearly, if you're going online, you ain't no better than your kids, because you up here using the same platform to get your little message and your narrative out there. So in theory, if you kept this shit in the house, we would not be talking about it. Brian McKnight, if you wanted to have another child and name that child Brian McKnight, we didn't need to post.
But he didn't. But he didn't put it out and saying.
He did.
This is what I'm saying. He didn't put it out and say, "F my other son. I'm going to name this son Brian." He felt the public felt a way about seeing his post with the other child named Brian.
Correct.
So they went and being messy and went and said, "Hey, what you think about this? What you think?" You didn't have to address your father online. And
He didn't.
And that's the thing I'm talking about, because at the end of the day, right, then you come back and you ask your father, oh, can I have money for this? Can I have money for that? Well, let's look at it now. We're talking about people not showing up to his concerts. What money is your daddy giving you now?
Hey,
I'm always thinking about the money. I'm going to be like, look, daddy, I'm going to call you and curse you out, but in public, that is my daddy. No.
All money ain't good money. And like you said, like
but there is something called a brand. I bet you that the Hilton family did not like how Paris Hilton was purporting herself when she had the sex tape and all this other stuff going. But I never heard them slam their child, and I never heard Paris do the opposite, because I remember when, they were talking about how, the family carries themselves and things like that, right? Because I was a kid when all those shows and, things were on. So I never heard vice versa. So at the end of the day, y'all know there's a legacy there, right? No matter how small or big, Brian McKnight has a name. He is a household name, right? You protect that legacy no matter what. Whatever you need to do, like behind the scenes, if you need to sue your dad, all that stuff could be carried out privately.
It can be. And I mean, I'm not...
You don't have to come to the public where we're going to sit up here and talk about it.
Yeah, no, neither person is right for addressing it publicly. Let me say that. But what I will say is this. If if I'm named after my father, if I was a man, I'm named after my father, and now my father has another son and he's named, I would feel some type of way. Because here it is, you pretty much saying I wasn't good enough to carry out your legacy. Here it is now, my child is carrying on your legacy, and you're pretty much saying me and my son are nothing. Well, that's vile.
But if you're done with somebody, right?
Right.
Right, because I'm gonna tell you like this. Even when you're, when you think about wives and husbands when they divorce, right? If I was a man, I'm sorry, girl, I want my name back. I want my name back.
That's your son.
What I'm saying is I want my name back, right?
Right.
Because there's a legacy attached to it, right?
Correct.
Okay, and up until, who was it? Well, matter of fact, if you look at these shows, Basketball Wives and all this other stuff, right? These women haven't been with these men in a long time, and they still use those names. Why? Because there's a legacy attached to it. Right. So what I'm saying is, even when it's not an intimate, well, your son is still an intimate relationship, but romantic. Even when it's not romantic, you still need to keep that legacy, because he's literally relying on it. He's like, oh, I need him to help invest in this. Well, you're relying on Brian McKnight's legacy. You got to make a choice. Right. If you don't give a damn, if you don't give a damn, we don't give a
Yeah. No.
Right.
He can't go both ways. You can't. No. Brian McKnight Jr. First Brian McKnight Jr. You can't go back and forth. But what I will say is, like, when you've decided that you're not going to have anything to do with your parent, then you need to be able to cut that tie. But at the same time, Brian McKnight being the father, having those children, you had them out of love at some point, or else you would have made two more after Brian McKnight Jr., the first one.
Okay, so now and this is before we switch the topic, you know that there are a lot of children that are made not.
We know that.
Right, so we don't know the situation that those children were made out of. And Brian McKnight is on the older side, right? He's on the older generation. So a lot of those generations, come from you got her knocked up. Go ahead and marry her. So you know what I mean?
But I mean, you did it two more times though, so I can't really give him any justification, because you know how they be. Not only that.
I'm not saying they shouldn't have accountability, but I'm saying you know how they be. But we in the house,
right? But the one son said something interesting. Like, when I was younger, you had me throwing away your old condoms so my mother wouldn't be able to find them. You had situations where they said Tyrese was living underneath the pool table.
And if he did that,
so my thing is this, what if the real reason why these children are upset, the same way like Gary Owens said that his children won't have no parts with him because he cheated on his wife? Who's to say that these kids have not cut their ties with Brian McKnight because he treated their mother wrong? Because my thing is, your alliance is to, most people want to go with the alliance of the mother.
No, because I agree. I agree with this point. No,
So if a man, so if your father is cheating on your
my
mother,
father did.
Okay, so he just out here
You
cheating
know,
on them.
my father was in entertainment.
Okay.
Right? My father was
So
slut life.
okay, so if he had you up here coming up with excuses so he can be a slut.
No, and I told you, that's what I just said. I said if he did that, no, that is wrong, because I don't think children should be involved in adult relationships either way, right? Whether you're a child or you're grown, right? And I've always told my mother, right, that the relationship I have with my father as my father and the relationship you have with him as a husband is two different things.
Correct.
Don't involve me in that.
Okay.
Because I'm not married to him. That is not my man. That is my father.
Okay.
So I respect him on a different level than you and your romantic intimacy, right?
But if they involved you in it.
But they did.
Okay.
Right? Because my parents were young, right?
Right.
They were really young when they had me. So, one doing this, one doing that, and I'm little, right? But what I'm saying is, and I just have the tenacity to know how to separate stuff. But let's say somebody that doesn't, right? You can easily sway a child one way just because how you feel about that man or that woman.
Right.
Right? Which is, it's wrong.
It is wrong. Yeah.
Right? So, yes, no, I don't agree that mothers should be telling their children, your daddy cheated on me. Girl, that's your business. And you figure out a way to deal with that. That's that child's father, and that's always going to be their father. And I think a lot of the times, men and women don't realize that once you sully that in that child's eye, there's no going back, right? And then you know how women get sometimes, right? They make up with the man or this and this and that.
They go back and forth, right?
You know how it is with a friend. So imagine how it is with a child that's in the house.
But it's traumatic for a child to bear witness if you're young, under a certain age, and you bear witness your father is cheating on your mom.
That's why I said it's wrong if he's involved.
But it doesn't come up then. Sometimes those feelings and emotions don't come back until you're grown. So therefore,
that's why you should handle it privately.
But that's why they handle it privately. But at the same time, this is where Brian McKnight, as the older person, you should have taken the time then to address your children.
But how we know that he didn't? That's what I mean. It's too many.
We don't know.
Many nuances. I don't know. I don't know if the child's telling. I don't know if the child's telling the truth. I don't know if Brian McKnight's telling the truth.
You can't be up here singing, doing Bible scriptures. You done had a whole wife, and now you got a whole new wife, and done had a whole sir. Like if it was all like that, if you cared about the covenant of God, you would have still been with your first wife, and you wouldn't have cheated on her. So in theory, the woman that you're with now could very well leave you for a younger dude because she knows how much money you got. She already knew what she was getting into. She already knew the investment. Julia know that you was the money bag.
But so maybe
why wouldn't she be up there be pressed for a damn graduation car? I would be too.
Well, maybe
I would be too. So
maybe he got her to sign a prenup.
That nigga too green to have her sign a prenup. The way he trying to tour so he can take care of his new family. And if that's the case, if you're gonna leave a black woman and go be with a Filipino woman and take care of her Filipino kids and go out here and have another child,
but you don't know why.
By all means, I don't care why. You know why? Because this woman know you, Brian McKnight. She already know what you come with. Yeah. It ain't like she met you before you were Brian McKnight. So therefore, my thing is, how you know she ain't for the bag?
She could be. She could be. Just like the woman that was before. Like
she could have been too.
You can be that for potential, because y'all
based on that
had that. Remember, y'all had that same argument with the NFL draftees, right? Y'all see the potential. Oh, he got the potential to make millions. I'm gonna attach myself now. It's the same thing. But whether you start from the bottom or you start from the top, if you see that this man can make money, come on, we women.
Okay,
we women.
But in theory, and I know we about to change it, but in theory, a lot of the black men that have been around for so long that are married to black women are still married to those black women. We have Ice Cube, Ice Cube, we got Denzel, we got Snoop. Now, granted, if they cheated or infidelity, whatever the case may be, they stay with them black women because LL Cool J.
But Denzel's wife is what? Silencion. Silent.
Huh?
Denzel's wife is silent.
Denzel's wife
is probably done. Denzel's probably done a lot.
Denzel's wife is an actress. She's also acted as well.
But she does not speak on any of her husband's discretion.
No.
So that's what I
old
mean.
School. That's
what
school.
I mean.
Old school women know to keep it in the house. Old school women know how to keep it in the house. That's why you had grandmas back in the day. They had Clydes and so more.
That was
whatever.
my whole point.
Yeah,
and the old school men as well, because there's a lot of old school women who had a bunch of children that wasn't that man's kid.
Oh, we need to change something. No time.
Go
about that.
So let's go on the
Look. I don't know about that. I got the same mama, same father as my two sisters, so we good. I don't know about that. I ain't getting into it because what people choose to do,
it's their business. It's their business. But I agree. Once you bring it on social media, it gets a little.
Brian McKnight, get your shit together. Get your house together before you trying to go on a tour. Get a PR person. Get Yvette Scholes, the person that take care of Beyonce. Get her as your PR person.
Hey,
get somebody.
Beyonce had a cheating scandal, and it was quiet.
Because she had Yvette on that. So my thing is this: at this point, Brian McKnight, if you want to do something good for the Black community, you just going. I don't know what to do, but you might just need to go on Ayanna Van Zandt, Abby Phillips, somebody.
Ayanna said she done with y'all.
Yeah,
she done with y'all.
Go on CNN and talk about it. Get somebody else to do it because the DMV don't want no parts of it. Micca might come to your show, but I'm not.
Micca don't spend no money like that.
Well, you don't have to spend money to go on the show. I know you know people.